know every single one of you, and I feel like I've done this a couple of times the last couple of months, but it's 1,000% true. I just want to thank all of you that have reached out to myself or my wife within the last 24 hours. Couple of nights ago, we got some very unfortunate news as I was exiting the show on Tuesday night that my wife's grandmother had passed. And it hits a little bit different because not only was she my grandmother-in-law, but she's also been my neighbor for the last decade. Alberta Frances Cronledge, born in 1931, had seen more in their lifetime than maybe anybody. A teenager during World War II, she would raise a family in New Orleans, Louisiana, that would expand for a lifetime. Things didn't really hit me until, for the first time in my life, I had to tell my son about his granny and about a woman who had lived next door to him for his entire life. And see, it's different when it's not just a neighbor, it's a family member and a woman that raised the person that you married and had children with. Because we lived so close, there were countless times that Granny and I would be in my truck heading home from a family function and just having conversations. And the wisdom that was shared to me over the last decade will, I hope, live through me in a lifetime. I greatly appreciate all of you that have not only reached out to me, but to some of you that have reached out and given condolences to my wife. You know, I'm not able to do this without you, and I say it all the time. But you get to see a guy behind a camera. You get to see a guy on YouTube. You get to see a guy on Facebook, or you listen to us on the audio podcast. And sometimes things aren't reality. Like, you don't really know me. I don't really know you, but you know my perspective on sports. But the truth of the matter is I'm a human, you're a human, and we all try to figure this out amongst ourselves. And I don't, you know, sometimes I sit here in the office, whether we're sitting here watching games or we're sitting here and we're watching LSU or we're sitting here just talking about it. You know, sometimes actually I think about this more than anything. I think about how in the world do we get to do this? I don't know. It is a blessing every single day. I just want to thank all of you. The outpouring has been absolutely amazing. The DMs today were absolutely amazing. We are fractured, not broken. And I am going to miss our granny. I am going to miss the times that we spent with her. Last night before I came on the show, I got a little emotional because, well, my family was. And sometimes you hit a breaking point. And thank you to all of you. Thank you. You allow me to do this, and it is quite honestly a blessing. Thank you for always being there for us. You know, sometimes people tell us, Blake, thank you for always being here. I thank you for when you tell me that, because it's really you that are there for me. And that's just never going to change. So thank you for all the outpouring and the outreach that you've given us. All right, let's get moving to it. It's Thursday. You know what it means. Keys to victory for the Ole Miss week. We got a lot, and we got a lot that we're going to talk about. I don't know if we're going to get out of here at 7 or not because there's so many different pieces that we got to get to, and we're going to get to all of them. Brian Kelly gives a final update. We'll talk about that. We'll break that down. But I did want to start off the show, and I probably should have started this off earlier in the week. But now that it's the last show before the game and before the last time you and I talk, I wanted to mention this. So we'll talk about keys to victory. Brian Kelly gives a final update. But before we get rolling, there is another topic that I think you and I need to get to. So, listen, I know a lot of LSU fans have seen or just this week that a lot of people are doubting if the Tigers can go into Oxford and win. Guys, you can go into Oxford and win. I don't think anybody in the country would be shocked that the number 4 team in the country goes into Oxford and wins. I also see LSU fans not thinking that this is going to be a very big test for you, because I do think that it is. Because this team, this LSU team, for all that's been made of them, offense, can't throw the football, scheme, no run game, great defense, great defensive play caller, Brian Kelly, portal, DBs, whatever the narrative you want to make about LSU, you can't worry about it. And you can only control what you can control. And this team has gone through a lot. Hell, they went through a lot last year. Go start answering those bells. And I will tell you, go start answering those calls too. But I will tell you, Ole Miss wants a little bit of revenge on you because of what happened at the end of happened last year against them. So what? They're a massive rival to you regardless of what you think. They don't like you. We don't like them. And quite frankly and quite honestly, I didn't know this many Ole Miss fans existed based off of what I've seen on social media. The pompous attitudes are going to be the pompous attitudes from them. Good on them. I watched the Lane Kiffin documentary, by the way, and I do believe that he's changed because he's been in Oxford for longer than he's been anywhere else. Go control what you can control. You are the more talented team, and that is what's getting missed here. What's been missed about, in my humble opinion, what's been missed this week about LSU and Ole Miss is I do think LSU's more talented. It doesn't mean you win, but I don't know if there is an area that I don't take you versus them in a lot of situations. Now you got to go out there and prove it on Saturday. Let people continue to doubt you. Let people doubt you from, look, you're not a favorite going in there. Who cares? You weren't a favorite against Clemson and you won. Well, Blake, Clemson sucks. Who has Ole Miss played that can really test them like you can? Nobody. I also believe that you really might have not played anybody that can test you like they can. So it's going to be a great matchup. But all of that, none of that matters. Go do and take care of things that you can take care of, and we'll figure out Saturday who the better team is. Todd Davis says, why does ESPN have LSU 36% chance of winning, only a 2.5% spread? I don't know. Garrett says, back in the 337 Iota, Louisiana. Stand up and stand proud. Yeah, where are y'all watching from tonight? Dane Bergeron with a $10 super chat says, Tigers are going to win. The spirit of Billy Cannon and Burt Jones will propel the Tigers to victory. Dane, I don't disagree. I'm going to pick LSU to win and obviously cover here. Unless LSU just, obviously. If I'm picking them to win, they're a dog. So I'm picking them to cover. I think you're going to figure out a way. I do. I do see some people on social media, massive LSU fans. Some of you got to take the purple and gold glasses off. We're a good team. We could be a great team because they're going to give you challenges. The naive shit I've seen on social media from some people with even some social, like larger following accounts is absolutely asinine to me. It's asinine. And from some people that I know that haven't played this game for a fact. So just go control what you can control. That's all that matters. Ryan says, from the Gulf of America, I'm assuming my man's offshore. Good to have you in here with us. Chris Lomax says, 901 Covington Tennessee in the house. Good to have you with us here. Dan says, let's go from Shreveport, Louisiana, the 318-31 great. Love our people on the 318. He says, I watch you every day. You're the man. Thanks for the updates. Oh, man, Dan, I appreciate you being here, buddy. I really, really, really do. Dan, I need you to do me a favor, though. I know that you know a lot of LSU fans. I just need you to send 10 people. Hell, you don't even have to send that many people. Send it to 10 people. Send them the link of the show. Say, hey, look, this guy covers LSU. He's either ugly, hilarious, has horrible takes, has good takes. Just tell him to hit that subscribe button for you, boy. But good to have you in here with us, man. Good to have you in here with us. Hyper Ninja says, Blake, do you think this game will be all about Whit Weeks? No, I think it'll be about everybody. Do you think this game will be all about Whit Weeks? No, I don't. No, I don't. I think Whit plays a massive part in it, but I think that if you're asking me, I think a lot of it, if I had to pick one person that it really kind of is all about, I think it's more about Harold Perkins than anybody. More than anybody, it's more about Perk. Todd is in Pasadena, Texas. He says, let's go. Good to have you in here with us. Garrett says, Brian Kelly didn't say anything about Nuss. T was healthy. Mind control for opponents. Yeah. I mean, there were always rumors, but I thought LSU did a fantastic job hindering those rumors, like not letting us in there for a week, only letting us in there for a day in the last week. And saying Garrett and dressing out Garrett fully and saying he's on a pitch count. Yeah, he was on a pitch count because he was hurt. Ain't nothing else having to do with that. All right, let's get moving here. Everybody do us a favor. Hit the like and share. Share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. AYS Sports is also presented by, and every episode is presented by our good friends over at FanDuel. Go sign up at FanDuel today. You have some discretionary income. Want to go play some bets on this weekend's games? Hell, you want to do it tonight before Thursday Night Football. Go over to FanDuel and do it. Now, I do highly suggest if you don't know what you're doing or if you don't have the discretionary income, don't go over there. We go over there and place those bets to have fun. Don't make it a living. But if you have the discretionary income, you want to have some fun, you want to bet on some games, it makes it more lively. I love doing it. You love doing it. That's why we go over the best sports book in Louisiana, but in the United States of America as well. FanDuel.com is the place to be. Go sign up today. And if you have any questions, thoughts, and concerns, you can go to FanDuel.com/RG for more details. Let me get to a quick break. During the break, all of you are going to hit the like, subscribe, notification bell if you hadn't already, but you're definitely going to hit the share. Let me get to a quick break. We come back, as we do on our Thursday show, patented keys to victory. We talk about that next. Stay with us.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man. He's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler. He'll shoot you straight.
Hey, guys, I want to tell you about our good friends over at Red Stick Financial. They're your local residential mortgage broker located right here in the heart of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. At Red Stick Financial, they find the bank that works for your particular set of needs to purchase the home of your dreams or refinance the current one. They truly are your partners in this process, and they pride themselves in helping individuals and families with one simple goal in mind, and that is to make home financing approachable, attainable, and stress-free. They are licensed in all Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. So from Amarillo to Meridian and everything in between, they have you covered. Red Stick Financial brings you creative, customized solutions, and they don't believe in the one-size-fits-all when it comes to loans. They even have special options for mobile and manufactured homes located in a flood zone and stated income financing for those of us who are self-employed borrowers. If you or someone you know is looking to buy a home, refinance an existing mortgage, or simply want to know what options are out there for your future, give Red Stick Financial a call today at 225-407-9250. That's 225-407-9250. or check him out online at redstickfinancial.com. That's redstickfinancial.com. Before you purchase the home of your dreams or you go and do that refinance, you need to go local. Go Red Stick.
We're back.
All right. So I do see Antonio's in here from Conroe, Texas. Conroe, Texas, a great place. He says from the 318 originally, like, good to have you in here with us. Good to have you in here. Todd says, how about Skeens going under a 2 ERA? He is the NL Cy Young Award winner, in my opinion. Now, I kind of prefaced this last night. October, to me, is the best month of sports because you have Major League Baseball playoffs and you have football that's on the tube. I'm going to say something, and my fandom is going to get questioned here. I think Cal Raleigh is your AL MVP, and I love Aaron Judge. I love him. Aaron Judge did do something, though, and I don't think it's as crazy as people think, hitting above 300 and hitting 50-plus home runs. I think he's at 51 right now. Either one of those guys deserve it, but Cal Raleigh's a catcher, and for the first time in Major League Baseball history, a catcher hit 60-plus home runs. I want Aaron Judge to win it. But if you're going to talk about Major League Baseball, I do. If you're asking me, I would go Cal Raleigh, even though I think Aaron Judge deserves it just as much for what he went through this year. And by the way, guys, he missed, 2.5, 3 weeks? So could he have gotten to 60 his damn self? Or close to it. I don't know. But hitting over 300. But don't tell Ben Ruffino I said that Cal Raleigh probably should win. Probably should win it. He loves him some Aaron Judge. But what Riley has done as a catcher is absolutely insane. I'll be real with you. The home run he hit yesterday, where they're chanting MVP in Seattle, and he hits one into right field on a line drive, that kind of gave me chills, man. Look, a secret passion of mine, which I don't talk about a lot, is I love watching Major League Baseball. I really do. So we'll see with this whole Cal Raleigh MVP thing, but he deserves it just as much as I do think Aaron Judge does. All right, you're not here about Major League Baseball. So, guys, it's Ole Miss week. It's Thursday. If you're watching the clip, maybe it's Friday. I don't know. But keys to victory for Ole Miss week. Look, we're going to go through a lot of these. We didn't really go through a lot against Clemson. We went through a lot against Florida. But there are a lot of things tonight that I think that we got to get to. The last time that I think that we saw an Ole Miss team that resembles the one that they have right now, maybe to me is more 2022-ish than anything. Now, the last time you faced Ole Miss, or when you faced Ole Miss in 2022, if memory serves me correctly, and I probably should have went and looked this up, I think they were like on a 7-game win streak, and then they come into Baton Rouge, take an early lead. LSU beats them 45-20, I think it was. And it's a completely different feel, but you are facing an Ole Miss team that is undefeated, and you're going into their place. They came to you in 2022, obviously. When I look at this team for Ole Miss, there's a lot of really good things that I do see that they've shown through 4 weeks offensively. They're the number one team in explosive plays. They're the number one team in the country in explosive play rate. They run the football very effectively. But when I see them, there are things that I think that LSU has got to capitalize on defensively and offensively. For example, LSU has got to find a way. So the number one thing, guys, LSU's got to find a way to get off the field on third down. Two of the best third down units face off against one another this week. And I think that the theme of this week, for me at least, has been LSU's biggest strengths, Ole Miss biggest strengths versus the weaknesses, and the weaknesses versus the weaknesses. They show up everywhere in statistical analysis. They show up on the film. They show up everywhere. But you have one of the best offenses in the country so far through 4 weeks of staying on the field on third down. Guys, Ole Miss is 18th in the country in third down, and you're hovering around. I mean, the percentage points could be varied, but you're sitting in the top 15 on defense on getting off the field on third down. I think that's a little bit skewed because there are teams in the top 15 that has not played a P4 opponent to date, like Penn State as an example. Because getting Lane Kiffin and this offense into third and long situations and getting them off the field on third down is going to be a massive deal because of just the tempo that you need to limit from them. We're going to talk about this in more detail later, but I'm going to preface it a little bit now. I do not think that defensively they have the depth that if they got an outright brawl on the ground and physically, that they have enough personnel that they can rotate in and out on you. I don't think that they've had to show the amount of depth that they need to go into a fist fight for 4 quarters. And when I'm talking about a fist fight, I'm not talking about what happened 2 seasons ago when you went in there and there was 90+ points that were scored in that game. I'm talking about, can you make this thing a little bit ugly early, get off the field, punch each other in the mouth, and then lean on them in certain areas and avenues. I don't know if I know for a fact they haven't seen a team that can rotate 7 to 8 defensive linemen, even with Gabe Rutherford out, that they can excuse me, they have not seen a team that can rotate that many fresh bodies the way that you can. They have not seen an interior defensive line like yours, and I do think that Bernard Gooden plays a massive role on 3rd down, and I think Carter was right on Tuesday when he said their right guard has had some issues with the more shifty defensive tackles, and he's right. Because you're going to have to limit them. And Lane and Charlie Weiss Jr., have been very effective on, I don't know why I said Chris. Charlie Weiss Jr., I was just talking to Chris Phillips at SEC Unfiltered, probably why. They have been exceptional on 3rd downs. And I think that you have 2 play callers, meaning Lane, Charlie Weiss Jr., and Blake Baker and company, who are both exceptional at dialing things up. And it is going to be a chess match. But when I look at 3rd down, I think that both sides, from Ole Miss's offense and LSU's defense, I think both sides are going to kind of get theirs, right? Like, because of how effective they've been, I expect Ole Miss and Lanekiffin to call some things and do some things that is going to be able to propel them on 3rd down. I fully expect Blake Baker to do the exact same, and it's going to be a chess match and an outright war there. I thought Blake Baker did some exceptional things with a lesser talented team that was able to get them off the field on 3rd and 4th down a season ago and really made Lanekiffin press when probably he shouldn't have. That's not the side of the ball and the side that I'm looking at the most that I think is the most crucial. So, yes, getting off the field on 3rd down defensively is always going to be key because Ole Miss defensively is 74th in the country on 3rd down defense. And I've seen teams that they faced off against, and I think Arkansas, from an offensive standpoint, being the best, that quite honestly continued to convert 3rd downs. Ole Miss wasn't getting lined up right on 3rd down. They looked a little bit chaotic. And I don't know if some tempo early does not really help you there. Keep your defense off the field. Now, I know that a lot of you want to run a little tempo, and I am not saying that you shouldn't, and we're going to get to that literally next. But when I think of the tempo that you need to run, I don't know if playing a little bit of time of possession doesn't need to come into effect. LSU has been one of the best SEC teams or one of the best teams in the country, but one of the top teams in the SEC at generating 3rd and short or 3rd and 5 shorter. In generating such short yardages on 3rd down, guys, this has got to be the week that you convert. Ole Miss has shown over and over again through the first 4 weeks that they won't get lined up on defense, that you can hit some plays on them, and you got to give them, or you got to take what they're going to give you, because they're going to give you a lot of stuff, in my humble opinion, on Saturday. We've had some Ole Miss fans in the chat this week, and they've been saying, "Oh, well, if this defense is so bad, then why did they only let Arkansas score 10 points or 7 points, or no, was it 9 points, whatever it was, in the second half? Why did you give up 30-plus points to a team that could not stop you? Do you think Arkansas is a better team than LSU? If you do, then you're just an idiot." You have got to, for the first time in a couple of weeks, you're going to have to convert on these third downs. If you can't do what some of these other lesser teams, and quite frankly, less talented teams offensively, if they're able to do it and you're not walking out of there with a win. You got to be able to convert on a team that through 4 weeks looks like that they've been lost in their secondary and getting lined up in general. They made a statement last week versus Tulane, and you got to give it to them. They did. I don't think Tulane's a bad team. I think they're massively undersized on both lines of scrimmage. Actually, they are massively undersized on both lines of scrimmage. How many times are teams going to be able to convert on third down and Ole Miss struggle with that and you not play some of the same style of stuff that you've been doing? You know, I look at this and I look at time of possession. To get me to my second point here, I look at time of possession and I look at LSU, right? I look at LSU in the sense of, in the time of possession, Ole Miss is 109th in the country in time of possession. They want to get up and down the field and run tempo. And I really think that some of the things that you've been doing can wear this defense out. Guys, they do not have the secondary. They do not have the depth on the line of scrimmage that if you start, even if it's 3 to 4 yards a pop, whether it be through the air or whether it be on the ground, I don't care. I think if you lean on them and keep that thing close in the fourth quarter, third and fourth quarter in the second half, that you might break them. They don't have the depth. Again, they're 109th in the country in time of possession. The interesting thing is that offensively, you're 22nd in the country in time of possession. I know that seems a little chaotic. Blake, we've been bad. Why do you want us to keep doing some of the same stuff? I don't want you to do some of the same stuff you're doing offensively, but I don't think the game plan and the style of play that you're playing is something that you should throw out. What I am saying is that this team wants to get up to the line of scrimmage and run. Good, lean on them. Power versus finesse. And I do think the power will work here. Two completely contrasting styles of how both of them have been winning games. You've held on to the football for a long time. Guys, the reason you're 22nd in the country is because you've held on to the football for a long time. And your defense has just gotten off the field. Sure. I bring both of the third down points. I bring in the time of possession piece because I don't know if they can hang with you long term. You know, I was thinking about an analogy today, and the analogy that I thought about was actually just a boxing match. And I remember, and it's not really a big boxing match, but, well, it is, but it kind of not. I think of Floyd Mayweather before he fought Conor McGregor saying, I'm going to walk him down because there's no way this dude's going to be in here in the 7th or 8th round. And then he walked Conor McGregor down and beat the shit out of him. I think you can do the same thing. Walk him down. Because if you do and you continue to progress over and over and over again, then I think that when you lean on them, they're going to ultimately break. Another thing on the time of possession and gaining those first downs and staying on the field on both of them. Ole Miss is 76 in the country defensively and allowing first downs. Guys, this defense has not been good. Your offense has not been good. And I look, man, you have a challenge in front of you that if you're able to execute on the small things that we know that you can execute on, I think you're going to win, and I think you could separate late on them. But if you continue to shoot yourselves in the foot, give up penetration in the run game, miss open receivers that are blatantly open, miss Aaron Anderson when he's on a slant and he's got a linebacker on him and he's got a couple of steps already, and you try to throw something else. Like, you have, for what it's worth, to some regard, you have just quite honestly beat yourself in a lot of situations this year offensively. If there is a time for them to show up, then do it. I don't think the game plan of what Brian Kelly has done is flawed. What I do think is that this week it would actually work just as good. Lean on them to win. There are teams not better than you that did it and did it to their defense, who, guys, quite honestly, is completely revamped up front besides Perkins. Now, I saw some people, when I said this yesterday, talk about Sertain Perkins. Blake, he doesn't have a sack all year. Harold Perkins has 1 sack on the year. Does his disruptiveness, do you want to take away his disruptiveness? For me, sacks in the early part of the season, yes, they're great. It's a big deal. But I think context matters. And I think that you cannot allow them to play their style of game. So if I want to wrap up this whole first part of the keys to victory, do not let them play their game. Because if you do, you're going to be looking behind the 8 ball saying, man, we got to start throwing the ball around and we got to start playing catch up. And that game you can't win. But methodically moving the ball down the field and getting them winded and you getting in late into the game and start throwing some haymakers at their ass, guys, they're going to go down. That's how I see it. Now, maybe ultimately I'm wrong. I don't know. But if there was a week of any weeks to find any semblance of a running game, it would be it. This would be it. Because the style of play and the defense that you have, I fully expect that could do some things to get them off the field and get them out of their rhythm. We'll see if you're able to do it. The third thing that I would want to talk about here is, well, I was going to save that for last. Screw it. We just got done talking about the run game. Guys, Ole Miss is 120th in the country in rushing defense. It makes me very nervous every single week when we go up against any opponent and we want to try to run the football. Because you had 135 yards last week versus Southeastern. Your quarterback got 26 of it on 1 run. Your running back in Kane Durham is nicked up and questionable for the game. From what I've been told, he has not gone in practice at all this week. In not going in practice at all, I think they're just trying to get him to recover, do some light stuff, and see if he can go by game time. Harlem Berry, Xavion Thomas, and Jawan Johnson are going to have to carry that load along with Caleb Jackson. Guys, this rush defense is really bad. Their run defense is atrocious, mainly due to the fact of having the same issues of what their secondary has had and not getting run up correctly, not getting lined up correctly. Because they've been pushed around by some lesser teams. And the reason this makes me nervous is because I always am of the belief that if you struggle in the run game, it's not a matter of if you get beat. It's only a matter of when you're going to get beat. You're 111th in the country in rushing. And this defense for Ole Miss has not been able to show that they can stop a bloody nose with a tampon. But I think Jawan Johnson has got to be a massive key here. I think he runs hard. I think he runs very hard. He's got to protect the football. I am nervous about Jawan Johnson and protection of the football. But you're gonna have to put your head down this week. Put the mouthpiece in, buckle up your chin strap really tight, put your head down, find one crease, and hit the hole as hard as you humanly possibly can. Because, guys, this pitter-patting around the line against this defense who has struggled in the run game, whether it be from a quarterback, whether it be from the running backs, it doesn't matter. They have gotten gashed by lesser teams. I am not asking this week for this LSU offense to be the best rushing team in America. Guys, I'm asking them to be average to below average. It's all I'm asking. If you can ironically replicate the 135 yards rushing you had last week, I think you win. And I don't like even saying that because I don't think it's enough. Not being able to run the football with this team worries me more than anything, because when you start getting in situations where you got to throw the ball all over the place to win and gain any yardage, mistakes start happening. And I trust Garrett and have started to gain more trust from him based off of his decisions. But I think of last season. I think of Florida, the Florida interception. I think of those things and say, man, if you put yourself in those situations, you can't keep giving an offense who's been the number one team in explosive plays any momentum. You cannot let that crowd, you cannot let that team have any momentum. You got to suck the oxygen, pause, but you have to suck the oxygen out of that building. The way that you do that, keep getting third downs. Tick, 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 tick. 3 yards here, 4 yards here, 3 yards here, first down. 3 yards here, 2 yards here, 6 yards here, first down. Can you do it? This offensive line is going to be a question mark every single week. But I promise you this, as God is my witness, it's not, if you continue to struggle in the run game, even though they're god-awful at stopping the run, we will make them look like world beaters. Guys, because last week you made Southeastern look in moments and times, you made one of their guys look like a first ballot Hall of Famer in some situations. It's not going to be a matter of if you get beat. It will be a matter of when you get beat. And the message that I would have to your offensive line, I hope that they haven't even heard that this run defense sucks, because it does suck. I hope they didn't even think about that, because they got a lot that they have to prove. This game sets you up, and a win in this game, I don't care what the ESPN stats say, this game sets you up for the playoff. Because I feel as if you win this one, and this is probably why I have so much anxiety behind it. Like, hey, man, going into Alabama, regardless of what you think about them, that's going to be tough. Going into Oklahoma, regardless of what you think about it, it's going to be tough. What is Vanderbilt? Even though, I mean, God bless it, because there is a very, very, very strong chance that Vanderbilt is either undefeated, which I don't think they're going to be undefeated, but there's a strong chance that this team is going to be undefeated or a one-loss team when you go into Nashville. They will be. Because the only loss that I see that they are going to sustain over the next couple of weeks is maybe to Alabama before you play them. You get through the month of September undefeated, guys, you start really having hope that, man, we might be able to make the college football playoff. The playoff lies, quite frankly, along your offensive line. And that's a massive burden to bear. Well, Blake, if our playoff hopes relies along the offensive line, then we're not making it. Then you're only as good as your biggest weakness. You are only as good as your biggest weakness. And, guys, your biggest weakness is running the football. I know Brian Kelly today in his press conference said it's more about run efficiency. No, it's not. Well, yes, it is. I get what he's saying. But, no, you got to be able to run the football. It will never be a matter of if you get beat. It will be a matter of when you get beat when it comes to you not being able to do that. Take it personally if you're this offensive line. At what point do you as an offensive line start taking this shit so personal that there is no tomorrow for you, because it should be personal. I would never tell them this, but if you can't run on this defensive line methodically well, I don't know if you can run against A&M, even though their defense stinks right now. I don't know, guys. Ironically enough, Vandy's a top 30 team yet again in run defense. Can you run on the road against Alabama? Can you run on a top 10 run defense in Oklahoma? I don't know. But you got to start taking this shit very personal, because now it is. This is what I will say. I think you got to get Xavier Thomas touches. And not only do you need to give him touches, you need to put him in the backfield and say, run the fucking football. You need Caden Durham. You need Juwan Johnson or Caleb Jackson or Harlan Berry to say enough is enough. We're not taking no for an answer. You quite honestly need Juwan Johnson. If Caden Durham cannot go, you need him to put his head down, cover up the football, and just say, I'm going to get 3 yards. And there's nothing that you can do about that. It's the worst thing that you've done the last 2 years. Year and a half, excuse me. It is the worst thing that you've done in the last 17 games, is the ability to just line up and run it right at somebody and say, there's nothing you can do about it. Guys, great teams, playoff. Let me not say playoff teams because it's expanded. National championship contenders are the ones that can simply line up and run the football. Well, Blake, how do you know? Okay. What did the last 4 teams in the college football playoff last year all have in common? What did they have in common? The last 4-team playoff, what did all of those teams have in common? Alabama was the weakest, and they lost to Michigan. What did Michigan do well? The 2 before that, what did they do well? What did Georgia do well offensively? Do you want a hint? Do I need to give you? You see where I'm going here? At some point, you got to start taking this shit personal. So the 120th run defense in the country faces off against the 111th rushing attack in the country. Whoever wins that, bottom line, wins the game. Get jet sweeps motions. I don't care how you got to do it, do it. If you got to get Barryon Brown involved, do it. I still think that Xavier Thomas has got to get carries lined up in the backfield. He does. Everything, you got to throw the entire kitchen sink at it. I think I got to be real with you. I know that they're going to say that they didn't do this against Florida. I call bullshit. Every single little thing that you have in the run game this week has got to be thrown at it and thrown at Ole Miss, because that is their biggest weakness. Now, there are 2 key points here that I want to hit on. Garrett Nussmeier's got to get involved in the run game. Sorry, I know it's not a strength. This week, he's got to have 4 carries. Whether it come off of scrambles, whether it's off of rollouts, I don't care how it comes. There is no way in blue hell that you can watch the Arkansas game and tell me that you watch Taylor Green, which, God forbid, I understand he's a much better athlete than what Garrett Nussmeier is. There are situations last week, though, with Jake Retzlaff. There's no way that you can watch some of those situations and tell me that you don't call a basic zone read and see what happens. Garrett has got to make the right decisions and the right moves. Everybody's got to be involved here. Everybody. Because it is the biggest key for you to win. Blake, we got to hit some explosive plays. I agree with all that. I get what everybody's trying to say about what we need to do offensively, myself included. I'm begging for them to throw a fade route to Chris Hilton down the boundary on the sideline. I'm begging for it. But when you look at a game in a one-game sample size, you got to let Garrett run the football too. Yeah, you heard me say it. Blake Ruffino saying the key to victory is Garrett Nussmeier pulling his own read. You're fucking right, I am. There were holes for days upon days upon days for Taylon Green. Guys, you could have put a Mack truck, a Mack truck could have run through some of the holes that Taylon Green ran through. Here comes the nuts bust, damn it. But you're gonna have to do it because they showed that they don't know what they're seeing. Their linebackers do not have a feel. And if you allow them to have a feel, if you allow them to do what their biggest weakness is, you're going to lose. I promise you, you will lose. So, here comes the nuts bus. Anyway, all right. I do think Ole Miss offensively is very good. However, their defense has another issue too. This is the biggest issue that I have outside of the run game. Guys, you in the red zone have been abysmal. Now, you can make the honest, probably description that, Blake, the run game's not our biggest issue. Scoring is. And, well, you're probably not wrong because points are the only thing that matters. The scoring defenses that Ole Miss has seen, excuse me. The scoring offenses that this team has seen has not been great outside of Arkansas. But these scoring defenses, let me back up. The scoring offenses that Ole Miss has seen, I completely butchered that. Let me back up. The scoring offenses that this defense has seen is not good at all. They averaged being 90th in the country. So I want to make that very well known. So a couple of things could be said here. Is Ole Miss just giving up a shitload of yards in between the 20s? And in giving up a lot of yards in between the 20s, they clamp down in the red zone. Very well could be what is happening here with Ole Miss and Pete Golding doing a very good job at locking things down in the red zone. Guys, you can't come away with threes this week. You got to go get sevens. But I don't know if they've faced an offense outside of Arkansas, ironically, that has the weaponry that you do. Omega Blake's a really good player. Taylon Green is a good quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback, but I think he's a really damn good quarterback because what he can present to you. Because teams have not scored points on them, not religiously. You can say, well, Ole Miss, Arkansas, I get it. I understand all of that. You're horrible in the red zone offensively. I don't know what to do because my issues with the red zone are about not being able to run the football. So that's why I say, scoring offense is predicated because you can't run the football first. But this situation in the red zone has also been a 2-year problem. And if you keep giving Lane Kiffin this week opportunities and you're unable to score points inside the red zone, you're going to get killed. I look at you and say, I do think it can be a play calling issue, clearly. But Trey'Dez Green comes back this week. Obviously missing after the Louisiana Tech game, didn't play against Florida, didn't play against Southeastern. Will be back this week for Ole Miss. Can Trey'Dez Green produce? Can Trey'Dez Green be that red zone weapon for you that separates things because they don't have a Trey'Dez Green? I was asked earlier in the week who I thought the key players were. And the reason I said this when we were at Service Hawk, well, does Trey Green play? And it is what it is there. I think Trey Green has got to make his statement known around the country. I think he showed the country against Clemson, hey, there's this guy, 6'7". If you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. 6'7". There's this kid named Trey Green, 6'7", who, bro, if LSU figures, we've all known about him. But from a national media landscape, a lot of people didn't really know what Trey Green can be. And you got to find 14 the football in the red zone. You got to get it to him first. But you got to find number 14 in the red zone. Last year, Trey Green scored his first touchdown as a Tiger against Ole Miss. If you keep coming away with threes, you're going to – I think Ole Miss can find enough points to beat you. They simply can. They simply can. Now, what I would say here is this. The most talented defense that you saw so far this year, or even when you play Ole Miss, the most talented defense that you've seen is the University of Florida, and you couldn't get points. They held you to 13 points offensively. That's not good enough, and that will not win you the game this week. Ole Miss is now the game. Did Garrett Nussmeier's injury really show why you were so bad on offense? Guys, the Piper's here. So as we start kind of wrapping this up a little bit, and we'll talk about some other things here, but as we start wrapping this thing up a little bit, guys, it's time for this LSU offense to pay the piper. It's time for them to pay the piper because the excuse for the offense was, hey, guys, Garrett was hurt. Well, Garrett being hurt had nothing to do with your run game. It really didn't, because if he's out there, there's relatively enough health that he has that you should have been able to do some better things in the run game. This is it. You have the ability to do it, but, man, the red zone turnout, I don't know what LSU can do because their run game sucks. I think let me just say this. For them, they think over the last year and a half, they've thrown the entire kitchen sink about scoring 7 and getting 6, 7 in the red zone. They think that they've thrown the kitchen sink. Okay, well, then that's not good enough. So now what? Now what? We'll see, man. We'll see. All right, before we move on here, we could talk about some of these things we talked about. Look, defensively, I think you got to go man-to-man. You got to go man across the board. Sure, mix up some zones in there. Confuse Trinidad Chambliss. I want to see Trinidad Chambliss beat this defense while you're in man-to-man coverage. I want him to beat this secondary. I don't think they can. I don't think their receivers can beat you consistently. Now, they got a really good tight end. The big fella, number 8, Wallace the third, is a good player. Caden's a good player. They got a lot of speed. They're going to hit some plays on you. But, man, I think your secondary is really good. Mansour Delane, P.J. Woodland, Tamarcus Cooley, A.J. Halsey, D.J. Pickett. I think they're very good. I'm going to throw this at you, though. I don't think that they are going to attack Mansour Delane a lot. I really don't. Now, they may test him maybe early in the game. Maybe they test him later on in the game. I don't think they're going to throw a lot in his general direction. Guys, knowing what we know about Lane Kiffin, I fully expect this week when they sit back to throw the football, they are going right at number 3, and they're going right at number 11, and they're going right at number 0, and they're going right at AJ. I don't even think they want to throw the ball in AJ Halsey's general direction. I'll tell you this, per sources, know it for a fact, they wanted AJ Halsey just as much as you did because they thought he was the best overall player in the portal. You heard what I said. They thought that AJ Halsey, based off of their needs, was the best player in the portal. I'm not guessing. So, based off of Lane Kiffin's comments this week saying, hey, man, the most expensive players in the portal, they went and spent, and look what their defense is doing. He's talking about Mansour Delane, and he's talking about A.J. Halsey. I fully expect him, based off of the intuition I'm getting, and I don't really think this is coach speak, I think they're going to go right after DJ Pickett. Now, DJ's been tested some, but not a lot. PJ Woodland's been tested some, but not as much as you would think. And you have not seen a passing attack that had the ability, and I do think Ole Miss has the ability to attack them. Guys, they want to push the football down the field. They have thrown a lot of fade routes to Strepling, to Wallace. They are going, especially with Trinidad Chambliss, they are going to push the ball down the field. They are going to throw right at, and this was at some point you're going to have to pay the piper on it. They are going to throw the ball at DJ Pickett. What I'm saying here may seem as if this is coming off with a negative condemnation. It's not. I think those good guys are really good players, but you got to know going into this game that if you're going to play a lot of man, and I think that you are, because you're going to sell out to stop their rushing attack, which I think that you can, and I also think that you can play some base and stop it and see what happens there early. I fully expect, because Lane Kiffin last year literally stated in the pregame going into LSU, we are going to attack non-experienced corners. He said, and if you watched the full length of his documentary, which aired last night, I'm always about attacking the player, and he didn't mean it derogatory. He didn't mean like, oh, this guy sucks, so I'm going to attack him. But he is a good play caller because of it. Guys, think about anything you want to about Lane Kiffin. He says more than scheme, he worries about players. And how you had Nick Saban in that documentary talking about this, literally specifying that and what made Lane Kiffin such a fantastic play caller. Okay. Then if that is the case, from a DB standpoint, I think they're going at number 3 because of the inexperience. And inexperience, that kid's good. Because Derek Stingley Jr. might be the best corner in the league. God bless him. I think he's injured, but God bless him. I hope he continues to do well. Regardless of remember Sting's freshman year and teams always starting to attack him. Guys, this is the day and this is the time that you start paying that piper. I think they're coming right at you. And if I'm C-Ray, if I'm Blake Baker, anybody, I'm telling them, listen, they're going right at you. And they're going to attack you because they're not going to not want to throw the football and be explosive. That is Lane's calling card. And it's been his calling card ever since USC. But I think you're going to go and you need to go man up and and suffocate their rushing attack. Suffocate Trinidad Chambliss. So much so that he can't do anything in the run game, that he has got to throw the ball all over the place to beat you. In that, I think from a passing attack standpoint, they're going right at PJ and they're going right at TaMarcus and they're going right at DJ Pickett. And it's up to those 3 guys who, guys, have played phenomenally. They have played fantastic football. Just know they're coming for you. And I have the faith, quite frankly, that those guys are going to make the plays. One of, if not the biggest advantages I do think that you have this week is that the talent that you do have, I think Lane's 1,000% right. The talent you have in your DB room is exceptional. Doesn't mean that inexperience doesn't always creep in some situations, because it's going to. So, suffocate, and contain Trinidad Chambliss. We've talked about that all week. Guys, he can run, and you got to suffocate him in every single little thing that he does. But one thing this young man does very well, he is not scared to push the ball down the field, and he's going to. It's up to you to slow it down. Look, a couple more things defensively. Just rotating players in and out, right? Their tempo and knowing when to do it. I feel that, look, I guess the only other real thing I could say, they start hitting tempo on you and they start getting involved in the running attack and rushing attack. Well, I mean, it can, you got to rotate, and I think you got the depth to do it. The only other thing defensively that's been on my mind this week is, look, I think they're going to. Like, I think this LSU defense is going to stop Trinidad Chambliss from running all over them. I do, personally. But because it was such a massive weakness last year for you and you could not stop running quarterbacks, can we just make sure completely? What did you say, Brandon? Tide Talk Live says Suffocat sounds like a female rapper. That's funny. That's funny. Our good friends over at Tide Talk Live. Sometimes I get rambling to say some crazy stuff. Just make sure that you can stop it. All right, last thing here. We talked about attacking the middle of the field this week. I think their safety play is atrocious. Attack their safeties. Yes, Sage Ryan included. Attack the middle of the field, and I think there's a lot of big things and big plays that can happen there. So we'll see. Look, their run game has allowed 19 TFLs this year, some of the most in the SEC through 4 games. Guys, that's almost 5 per game. I don't know if you don't sell out for the run and just play man behind it and say, listen, you ain't doing shit in the run game, guys. I think you can. I do think that there's an avenue you can separate. I do. There's also an avenue where shit falls off the wheels and the complete train comes off the tracks, and you're like, how in the hell did this happen? I never saw this outcome coming. It's going to be a big test, man. I don't give a shit what y'all say. I really don't. I have a lot of faith in this defense. And until proven otherwise, I think you win because of it. Offense scares the shit out of me, but I think this defense keeps you in the game. All right. Let's do this. I'll take some of your comments, thoughts, concerns in just a moment. Let me get to a quick break. Brian Kelly did give an update. Nothing really massively big here. We'll walk through it. We'll come back, get some of your thoughts, questions, concerns, and we'll wrap it up. Stay with us. Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Grand Slam Heating and Air, where your comfort is their top priority. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they promise to provide customers with high-quality HVAC service at an affordable price while ensuring the homeowner peace of mind. From their office to your home, they guarantee the best hassle-free experience around. Efficiency and comfort is their game. Let them make your home Grand Slam today. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they're offering their annual maintenance plan starting off at $18.75 a month and also doing those $99 tune-up promotions. They provide free estimates for system and ductwork replacement, as well as offering financing to get the job done with no money up front. From Baton Rouge to Hammond to Covington, they're all around. So what you need to do today, give them a call at 225-380-9065. That's 225-380-9065. Or go over to their website, getgrandslamair.com. That's getgrandslamair.com, where your comfort is their top priority.
We're back.
All right. So Brian Kelly said that Caden Durham was questionable going into this game. It'll be a game time decision to see how he feels, and we'll see if he goes. Guys, for me, I hope that he can, clearly. I hope that Caden Durham can go. I think he's very, very, very talented. Clearly. I have mentally prepared myself for a world where he's not there. Like right now, for me, just for me, I feel like I'm in a position where when my head wraps around this game, just to tell you how I feel, I'm not sourcing any of this because I don't know. Like this is just a feeling where I mentally got myself before we walk into this game. Mentally, I'm like, okay, he's not playing. And then it's just a massive plus if he does, and he's able to give you anything. Like I am not expecting him to play really. And even if he is, and let's just say he does, guys, if he didn't go this week and Brian Kelly's got him questionable, I don't know. I really don't know if he's going to go this week. Hell, he could go for 100+ rushing yards for all I know. I don't know. If you're telling me the vibe that I feel, I don't like it. But watch him come out and have a massive game. And if he does, fantastic. That's just where mentally, based off of how things have played out this week, I'm just going to say he doesn't play. Brian Kelly was asked about Juwan Johnson and about his ability to miss some tackles or break some tackles at the line of scrimmage. Guys, you got to get tough yards. Like if your run game is at 3.5 yards, but you're running it, let's just say you run it on first down for 3 yards, second down for 3 yards, and it's 3rd and 4. I mean, I don't really hate that. At least it's production, which what bothers the fuck out of me is when you start letting that amount of penetration pause, but that amount of penetration, I hate it. It bothers the shit out of me because it's constant. I like the production we've gotten the last 2 weeks from Juwan Johnson. The fumble was atrocious. It can't happen. We all get it. Cannot happen. Because how many I can think of 8 runs in the last 2 weeks, and really there's like 6 of them from or 4 of them or no, yeah, 4 of them from Florida, one that even got called back for a penalty, right? Like there are 4 runs that I look at and I'm like, all right, if everything finishes, okay, there's a run for 9, there's a run for 9, there's a run for 9 against Florida, and that team is better than Ole Miss defensively. The fumble is horrible, right? Like you can't freaking have that. But guys, he's done some really good things. The production in the last 2 weeks has been really good. The reason is because he's going to hit one crease, go for it, and he's very hard to tackle if you're just going to arm tackle him. I like how Juwan runs the football. Got to protect it, though. I think he's been pretty hot take. He has been the best guy so far in reference to when he knows where he's going in pass pro. He is by far the best guy or best running back in pass pro. It's not close. Caleb Jackson would be a very close, very, very close second there, but he doesn't get enough reps for you to be like, all right, well, he chipped the guy. He obliterated the shit out of it like last week. The check down. Guys, the edge guy came off of the field because Caleb Jackson checked him in the ribs. and he lost his breath. He did that twice against Clemson. And then the third time, he picked up Peter Woods on a glorified wham run where he obliterated him, stunned the shit out of him. Got to be physical, man. Bring some physicality to that run game. BK said that Garrett was good this week. Let me tell you something I did hear. Here's something I heard. I heard yesterday's practice was pretty intense. They had to go indoors from what I heard. Maybe weather-related stuff. That's fine. But let me just say this. There were some good vibes coming from Garrett this week. Let's see if that continues. Josh Thompson could be a very, very emergency right tackle per Brian Kelly. Guys, he basically said we're going to run out DJ Chester at right tackle if we think Weston Davis can't hold up. I didn't put this in the keys to victory. I should have. That was when the massive pause happened. And I mean, like, long non-talking, not the pause-worthy comments. Weston Davis versus Sertain Perkins bugs the shit out of me. It worries me. Keeps me up at night. I've been up at 5:30 every morning this week. I fell back asleep this morning because I really needed to sleep, but I've been up because it really does worry me. So we'll see. All right. Any super chats in this thing? Only Danes? Okay. Debo says Aaron Anderson will have 110 plus. I hope so. Tommy says, ask Blake, do you think that Coach Baker will try to introduce the D2 QB, which is definitely his biggest games? Do you think Coach Baker will try to expose? Oh, Trinidad Chambliss. Okay, which he is definitely the biggest game of his career to make mistakes. 100%. I think he's going to go right after him and try to suffocate him. Willie King says, I don't live in last year. The eyeball test tells me this defense is different. Let me just ask this. For either Ole Miss or LSU, where did I disagree? Or is this just a generalized statement, Willie? Pam Albritton, a member on the YouTube channel. Thank you, Pam. Good to have you in here with us. She says, sending my thoughts and prayers to you and Megan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, Pam, it's guys, I'll just tell you. Last night broke me. Last night broke me. Did Brian Kelly just rule out Gabe Rutherford for the year? That stinks. That stinks. Golly. That stinks, man. I hate that for him. Gabe Rutherford is out for the season with a torn rotator cuff. Yeah, that sucks. Ty, I appreciate it, brother. Just lost my wife's grandma, who was our neighbor, passed away the other night. Tough. Been a tough situation. Gibbs says, hashtag Ask Blake, does Barryon announce himself to the world this weekend? I hope so. I hope so, because that means you win. I really do hope so. All right, we're out of here. We'll see y'all Saturday. I'll be out of commission. I'll just say this. I'll be out of commission until probably about game time. We'll see y'all Saturday. Stay blessed. Peace out, Girl Scouts.